Hi everyone, so I'm Akansha Tyagi pursuing my MBA at XIM Bhubaneswar, and my majors are marketing and operations. So before joining MBA over here, I was working with Barclays, and there I was actually a part of the operations team. So that actually played a very important role in securing an internship with NatWest, right? And there I was also a part of operations domain itself, where I was working with the data privacy team, where I got the opportunity to actually help the UK based clients again, because that's where they deal with. And that's what my project actually revolved around. So, yeah. Well, to be honest, actually, it depends from industry to industry. And it also depends if you are coming with some work experience or if you're coming as a fresher. So, if I talk about myself, since I had some work ex in the UK banking industry itself, so there was not much need of the groundwork over there because I was familiar how the banking industry works, especially in the UK. I was familiar with the clients they were dealing with since Barclays and NatWest both are into retail business, right? So I was familiar with them, and but I would still suggest to actually brush up your skills or brush up the knowledge of your banking industry, the basics, not in much depth, basics of operations obviously, and get to know what exactly is happening in the UK banking industry. What are the laws and how do they deal with customer, what are their services, and what exactly has been implemented recently. So that really helps, right? That really shows the management that you have put in some work and put in some effort that can actually get you some, I would say, some stars, and that really helps. So that is some basics you should be clear with. Well, I wish I could answer that question, but I feel that after working in NatWest, right, I was the only person who was working in the data privacy team. So there were no other interns that I could bond with or I could interact with. So I think that actually created an opportunity for me. So when you are working on certain projects, right, either you reach out to the team member who you're working with or who's actually the intern again, maybe from the same college or the other college. But for me, there was a mentor that was assigned, and mentors are assigned for everyone actually, for all the interns. But the benefit for me was that the only person I could reach out to was my mentor, and that actually helped in creating a bond, right? And that actually helped or show the management that if or whenever I'm in doubt or whenever I need help, I don't hold back, right? I always reach out to people. I'm always there to actually help them. So I would say always be open about it, right? Do not be narrow minded, do not be restricted that should I approach the person, should I reach out for help. If you need help, reach out, right? If you think things can be done in a better way, reach out. Or if you feel that there are certain more information that you need, reach out, because they're looking for people who are open minded, people who will take a step towards, and people who won't hesitate much, right? They are looking for such people. But if you go by rules or play by regulations completely and not think out of the box, that might harm you, that might not be in your favor. So always do that. Right. So collaborating with the new team, I will say that was not an easy job, right? Because our internship was completely online, right? It was virtual internship. So a virtual internship, or it's very different to the offline internship that you perform. Because when you have the offline internship, you have team meetings, you have ice-breaking sessions, you do interact with people, right? And it helps you. It helps you grow personally and professionally in both the ways. But when you are working virtually, it becomes difficult, right? You don't know who to reach out and if it's the right time to reach out, or if the person is busy and the person might not get connected, or what do you do if the person doesn't answer your call or doesn't reply to your messages, right? So that hampers a lot. But I think what always works during your internship or during your professional world is always set up a meeting, reach out to the person way beforehand that we need to talk about this, so let me know the time when you're available and we can connect them, because it always shows that you're professional about it and it shows that you have planned things, right? You are not just going haywire, or you don't have things that we'll do it when we come to it, right? That's never how it happens. And make sure you do not do that. Always plan things, always take permissions and plan out things accordingly in your calendar. That shows your professionalism a lot, and that's appreciated a lot. So before I joined XIM, actually I had work ex of more than 2 years at Barclays. When I was working at Barclays, I never thought that it will play such a huge role in MBA. So during the internship, the main reason which I believe I got shortlisted at NatWest was because of Barclays on my resume, right? They knew that I was familiar with the UK banking industry. They knew that I've worked in the operations domain. So they knew I was familiar with it, right? I'm not someone who will go into the field without knowing what I'm coming with, without knowing what I need to deal with. So that's played a very important role. Also, I was familiar with all things, or I would say the rules and regulations that happen in the UK industry, or in the, I would say, in the United Kingdom itself, and about the clients also, because my role was actually to contact or to reach out to the clients. I was working with them. So I was familiar with the client base. I was familiar with their workings. I was familiar with the other domains that work in the operations, right? There are many domains. So data privacy, being a part of data privacy helped a lot. I was not familiar with data privacy before I joined NatWest, but I was familiar with other parts of operations. So that played a huge role in it. Because then I had some recommendation, I had some feedbacks, and I had some prior knowledge on that. So that actually played a very important role. So that's where my work actually played a huge role in my summer internship. Sure. So, about my project, actually, I was working with a data privacy team where my project was actually do the trend analysis of all the complaints that the company had received from the customer's end. Okay, and actually, the complaints were about all the data, right? So, all the banks or all the companies actually withhold some data of the customers, right? There is a law in the UK industry that now the company or the banks need to tell the customers what all information they are holding only if the customer asks them for. So there were many complaints with the customers saying that there's some data that you're holding of us, or that some data that you should tell us what you're holding of, right? So it was basically the analysis to know why the complaints are coming to us, why the customers are not happy about it, and what exactly is leading to the increase in the number of complaints, only to actually to analyze or to reach to the depth of it and to actually solve it so that we could bring down the number of the complaints, right? And that would actually help NatWest in saving the time, or the, I would say, the manual hours that was being put in. So that actually was very important. Also, I would say the major learning that came out of it was, I would say, I got to learn much more about the UK banking industry and data privacy. Being part of Barclays or being part of UK banking industry for more than a couple of years, I was familiar with the industry, but I would say I was not familiar with this particular act or with this particular domain or the team and the work that goes behind it. So that played a very huge role. Also, when we talk about it, it's very important how you present yourself, how you present the data, how you present what you have come up with, or how you reach out to people, right? It shows a lot. So try not to be informal about it, especially when you're going and presenting or giving your reviews on it. That's very important. And no matter, maybe the person seems informal to you, or maybe the person seems really relaxed to you, but they are not expecting, or they are not willing to take it if you're very informal about it. Be relaxed, be yourself, but always be formal about it, right? And be very, very clear of your thoughts that you're going to put in front, because that's very important. They don't want to hear jingle bell over there. They don't want to hear any more jingles over there. They are looking for people who can put their clear thought out in the open, because the problem they have given you is something that the company is dealing with, and they're looking for the solution, right, in those 2 months. That's the reason of a project. The project is not something they give you for no reason. The project is given only to reach to the solution or reach to the base of that particular problem. And if they have hired you, or if they have taken you in the company for those particular months, they have seen something in you. They believe that you can help them. So please make sure that you present and put your best foot forward in that. So yeah, that's the learning. Advice for the future intern is, I would say that just be yourself. Don't try to pick up skills or pick up skills of other people, because that's not going to help you. Because what you are will show up, right? It will be visible to the people who's there in front, because they have been in this industry for a really long time. They know if you're being real about it, or they know if you're faking it. They also know if you're put in any effort, because the question they shoot at you, because the question they ask you actually tells them a lot about it, right? And also remember to ask doubts, to ask questions. That's very important. you cannot be a know-it-all, right? No one is. Neither am I, neither can you be. So be very clear with it. Always remember to ask doubts. Always remember to reach out to your seniors. Always remember to work in a team. You cannot be a sole player. That's not what they're looking for. You have to be a team player. That's very important. If you cannot be a team player, then that's something that the company might not appreciate. So be very careful of that. So that's the advice. And of course, being an MBA student, you need to be a pro at Excel and PowerPoint. Please remember to present yourself well, because you are taking XIM Bhubaneswar's name with you. So that's very important. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Hello everyone, my name is Rahul Nair, and before coming here, I did a BA in Journalism, Psychology and English Literature from Christ University, Bangalore. After which I came here. First year was quite amazing, and then I interned with HSBC India, where I was with the business banking domain. My project was basically a research project where I was trying to understand how the entire ecosystem worked. Apart from that, it gave me a lot of exposure in terms of the different stakeholders in the industry and an overall view about how the banking system works. So there's not any prerequisite as such, at least for HSBC. What you need to do is basically be very eager in terms of the industry that you're going to be working in, number one. Number two, try to be as well versed with the subjects that are taught in first year so that you have a kind of a basic understanding of the banking system. But apart from that, I think eagerness is something that the company is looking forward to the most, because most of what they're doing and what they will be doing will be taught to you on the job. So try to be as eager as possible to learn. Prerequisites are not too much, just whatever you've been taught in first year, just try to revise that before you get into the internship. So I wouldn't be sure about evaluation as such because I was not in that position. But at least in my opinion, what they're looking for is somebody who is very quick learning, because as the industry itself, it's a very open company. So what they're also trying to see is how well you're able to adjust into the culture, which is more prone towards learning. So if you're able to interact with more people, get to know as much as possible, and at the end of the day, during the end of your project, they're also trying to see how many people you were able to interact with, how much of that knowledge were you able to imbibe. So one of the biggest qualities that they're looking for is how well you're able to imbibe knowledge and interact with people inside and outside the company. I think the one of the things that you need to look when you're starting off this internship is try to understand the culture of the company. Talking about specifically to HSBC, it's a very, very open culture. So the thing that I probably lacked in the first few weeks of my internship was understanding of how the company culture is. So my biggest suggestion to you would be try to understand how the company culture is very quickly and adapt to it. So HSBC is a very open culture. So I could have approached anybody I wanted to in the first 2 weeks itself, which I did not do, which is something that I would suggest you do. Because if you're able to approach as many people and understand their perspective of the company very initially, it will ease the rest of the internship very, very well for you. So yeah, this was one of the problems that I specifically faced, because since the entire internship was online, most of the team meetings as well as interactions with the people were also online, which was not probably the most comfortable medium for me. But the good thing was that my mentor as well as his boss were very open to conversations, and they made sure they were having conversations with me at least once in 2 days, which eased the environment a lot for me. So I think for me, my mentor was somebody who eased that process for me. But apart from that, I think it is also important for you to take initiative. It is a very open culture again, so you will have contact details and email IDs of everybody in the company. So make sure you're utilizing that resource and trying to get in touch with as many people as possible. Absolutely. So, since the sector is BFSI and the project or the role is probably a marketing sales role, so your understanding of both those domains become very important. So, if you do not have that understanding, you'd probably spend the first couple of weeks trying to understand the domain as well as the company and the sector. If you have done that already, which would come under cross-domain knowledge, that would be a lot more easier. So, yes, cross-domain knowledge is important and will help, but at the same time, it's not a prerequisite. You will get that over the course of your internship as well. So, in my opinion, the academic curriculum as well as the internship experience will be two very different things. Even though you will be applying a lot of what you will learn in class in the job that you're doing, but at the same time you will see a mismatch. But when you see that mismatch, make sure you are trying to understand why the mismatch is there. That is something that I found most useful, because what you're learning in theory will be different from what you're doing practically, and the gap between those two things are the most important thing that you learn in the internship. So make sure you're trying to actively understand why there's a gap between theory and practical. So in terms of contribution, I think my biggest contribution towards the company would be how diligent I was in terms of giving back the project that I was assigned. In terms of what I've received would be a great insight into what a corporate culture could look like, because the company was very forthcoming towards me, and they tried to make me feel part of the team as much as possible, which is something that I found very loving about the company. Therefore, if you ask me today, I will always stand up and say that HSBC was one of the best cultures I've ever seen. So, in terms of receiving, I received a lot more than I probably contributed, which is something that I would have liked to do even more. So, in terms of being an ambassador for HSBC, that they're a brilliant culture is what I would like to give back to them. My advice would be as open to learning and maximize the culture that you're being given at HSBC. At every point of time, you will have ample amount of learnings, ample amount of people you can approach, ample amount of resources that you've given. Make sure in the 2 months you're as diligent as possible and making the most of the resources that you're given. Have a great stay at HSBC. It's a brilliant culture. Best of luck.
So, hello everyone. Today I'm here with the Illuminatics team to tell my journey at Aditya Birla Capital, which was for 2 months. So, before starting with my journey, I would like to tell something about myself. So, I'm a Delhiite and I pursued my graduation from Jesus and Mary College, and it was in BCom honors. After which, I joined my family business for 1 year, which is an NBFC company, Vikhyat Securities Private Limited. So, to tell the depth of my personality, I would just like to state one quote that we don't know where destiny can take us, but we know where we can take our destiny. So, I believe that this quote innately tells my personality and its depth. So, now coming on to the internship part. So, earlier my internship was in marketing and sales, but I got an hands on experience of three domains, which is strategy, finance, and marketing. So it depends upon the level of proactiveness that you show in your internship stint, which determines in which domain you can gain experience and in which domain you can gain knowledge. So, okay, a nice question. And this was the same question I asked during my induction. So, they said that you need to be prepared with your basics. So, my internship was in marketing and sales. So, I just covered a basic elements of marketing. But one thing that you should be very clear of is with the MS Excel, because Excel will take you a long way and it's a very basic tool that you would need in your internship period. And the second thing is element of out of the box thinking and as well as your proactiveness. If you're doing the work, show that you're doing the work. Show to the authorities or the officials that you are doing the work. Be in constant touch with them, and that will take you a long way in not only converting your PPO but also getting live deals and working on live deals with the authorities. So that will give you an edge. So yeah. Okay. So this is an interesting question because my answer will be different from others, I believe. Because there are two parts to your internship journey. One is your professional sides that most of the people look at, but the other is your personal side. And the personal side, by personal side, what I mean is making your relationships with the management, making your personal relationship with the HR manager, with your immediate manager. That plays 80% of your role in actually converting the PPO. How do you talk to them? How do you be proactive in front of them? How do you react in the informal situations? That also plays a very major part in converting and in making the best of your internship journey. And coming to the professional part, in the professional part, just be proactive, not only with the assignments or the project that is given to you, but ask for more projects. Ask for the projects that the company is doing or the live deals that the company is doing recently, and be very proactive in terms of knowing about the company and knowing about what is the scenario in which it is working, as well as the future developments of the company. So these are the two aspects I would like to highlight upon. Yeah. So to stand out, just pretend to be confident. If you're not confident, just pretend to be confident. Because most of the people that you'll meet will be underconfident and will be very taken aback by the corporate scenario you're working in. Because most of the people will be freshers in ABCL. So being confident and knowing about the company will give you an edge over the others. If you're not confident, just pretend to be confident and just put a smile on your face, and that will give you the inherent enthusiasm to work on the project. Okay, so a very good question, because in ABCL they have a ritual of working in teams. So I was divided in a team of four. So two people were from Goa Institute of Management and one was from IIM Ranchi. So I got to the peer learning was great because I got to know about the insights from the various B schools, various top B schools of the country, and we worked on the project of NBFC. So one thing got to know from there is that my individual work will not only benefit me because we are working in a team. So it's very imperative to make a very good relationship with your team members and also delegate the work properly. Because if you'll not delegate the work, you'll end up doing all the work yourself. So you have to delegate the work to everyone that you're working with and also work as a team simultaneously. Sure. So I have work ex in NBFC sector, which is a non-banking financial sector. So there, because of my work ex, I got many projects from the NBFC sector itself, and because of that work ex, I was able to work on the live projects. So I got around 15 projects in which I had to like sanction the loans for the company, and which no other intern got because they did not have the required work ex. So that was one thing that benefited me from my work ex, and I signed many big deals with companies like Anantraj, Oxizo, and many other big companies. So that was one thing that contributed from my work ex. Sure. So, coming on to the major learning. So, first I'll start with my live deals. I covered approximately 15 live deals with four of my team members. And that was the major part of my learning because there I got a hands-on experience of the practical world, of the real world. And I covered many of the NBFC companies for which we sanctioned loans. So the companies were Oxizo, Anantraj, and many other small NBFCs as well as small and medium enterprises for which we sanctioned the loan and converted them and onboarded them with ABFL. So the second part of my journey was the strategy building, how to expand the scope for NBFC sector, where we had to tell in which sectors should ABFL expand into and looking onto the future considerations. And the third part of my journey and the third part of my stint was basically financial modeling. So there I had to see a certain courses and then make a financial model for the plan that we built for the future considerations of NBFC. So that was the financial model part that we built there. So these were the three parts in my which my internship was divided, and these are the learnings that I got from my internship. So I'll just divide my advice into the academics as well as the professional journey. So in academics, if you look at the subject knowledge, if you're going into a finance company, just look into the basic concepts of finance because in a financial sector, that's very important and that's prerequisite if you're going into that sector. The second is the subject knowledge of how to research on a particular topic. So research about the study about the various research methodologies that will come very handy if you're working on that, and the basic tools like Excel that I've already mentioned, as well as your PPT skills, that because that will be required day in day out in your journey. And now coming on to the professional field and how to manage your corporate life, that would be work on your work-life balance. Like don't just push yourself for 12 to 15 hours. Just work properly for 6 to 7 hours. And also, like I mentioned before, like maintain a very positive and a healthy relationship, especially with your immediate senior. And that will be a very important aspect of your journey. So I'll just wish you all the best and you'll do great.